There is a pain most people spend their entire lives trying to escape. Disappointment. Someone lets you down. A promise is broken. A friendship changes. The person you admired reveals a side you never expected. Your first instinct is to resist it, to explain it away, to give one more chance, to hold on to the image you had of them. But Carl Jung understood something profound. Disappointment is not always a tragedy. Sometimes it is reality breaking through illusion. Jung believed that we rarely see people as they are. We see them through projection, through hope, through longing, through the unconscious stories we place upon them. And when those stories collapse, we call it disappointment. But perhaps it is not your heart that is breaking, it is your illusion. And although that feels painful, it may also be the beginning of seeing people and yourself as they truly are. If you've resonated with this video this far, I would like for you to like it and share it with someone who needs to listen to this with you. Carl Jung believed that we rarely relate to people as they truly are. We relate to the image we have created of them, an image built from hope, need, admiration, and unconscious projection. Then one day reality arrives and we call it disappointment. Think about the last person who disappointed you. Did they really change overnight? Or did you finally see what had been there all along? Jung believed that the unconscious fills in the missing pieces. We imagine intentions, character, loyalty, potential. We don't see reality. We complete it with our own psyche. And then reality interrupts the story we've been telling ourselves. That interruption hurts, not because truth is cruel, because illusion is uncomfortable. The need to believe makes us blind. Why do we ignore the warning signs, the broken promises, the disrespect, the inconsistency? It is because sometimes we need the fantasy more than the truth. The fantasy that they'll change, that they'll choose us, that they'll finally become who we imagined. Jung understood that the psyche often protects the deepest hopes by refusing to see what is obvious. Not because we are foolish, but because hope can be blinding, especially when it feels an old wound. Let people show you who they are. There comes a moment in healing when you stop interrupting people's behavior with excuses. You stop saying, they didn't mean it, they're just having a hard time, they'll change, maybe they will, and maybe they won't. But until they do, believe what they are actually showing you, not what you're hoping to see. Disappointment is painful, but it is also honest. Because for the first time, you stop loving the possibility of someone and begin seeing the reality. Disappointment sets you free. The strange thing about disappointment is that it feels like loss, but often it is liberation. Because the truth, no matter how painful, is at the end easier to live with than an illusion. Stop falling in love with potential. One of the most dangerous habits of the human mind is confusing potential with reality. You don't love who someone is, you love who they could become if only they healed, if only they committed, if only they changed. But Jung would remind us, the unconscious does not relate to what is, it relates to symbols, possibilities, dreams, which is why we sometimes hold on to an imagined future while ignoring the reality standing right in front of us. Healing begins the day you stop dating someone's potential and start responding to their character. People reveal themselves through patterns. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has bad days. That is not the problem. The real question is this: what happens again and again and again? A single lie may be a mistake. A pattern of lies is information. A single moment of selfishness may be human. A repeated pattern of selfishness reveals priorities. Disappointment often arrives not because people suddenly change, but because their pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Every disappointment invites you to grow. Jung believed that every encounter contains something about ourselves. So when someone disappoints you, don't only ask, what did they do? Also ask, what did this reveal about me? Did I ignore my intuition? Did I mistake attention for love? Did I keep hoping instead of observing? Did I fear being alone more than being mistreated? The disappointment may begin with another person, but the lesson always ends with you. I'll repeat that. The disappointment may begin with another person, but the lesson always ends with you. You do not need closure from everyone. Many people wait for an apology, for an explanation, for someone to finally admit what they did. But sometimes the greatest closure is observation. You saw what happened. You learned what you needed to learn. And now you walk away. Not with hatred, not with revenge, simply with clarity. Because clarity asks for less than closure. It only asks that you believe what reality has already shown you. Eventually, you reach a different kind of peace. Not the peace that comes from everyone finally behaving the way you hoped. The peace that comes from no longer needing them to. And then you stop trying to change the story. The unhealed mind often asks, how do I make this person see what they did? How do I make them understand my pain? How do I make them become who I thought they were? But healing asks a different question. What is this person showing me? Because you cannot love someone into becoming someone else. You cannot explain someone into consciousness and awareness. You cannot force someone to meet you at a depth they have never reached before. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is accept the truth without fighting it. Disappointment teaches detachment. Jung believed that psychological growth requires letting go of illusions. Not because you become someone cold, because you become free. You stop holding people hostage to the version of them that exists only in your mind. You allow them to be human, flawed, limited, different from what you needed them to be, and you allow yourself to respond accordingly. With love when love is appropriate, and with distance when distance is necessary. The highest form of love is seeing clearly. There is a difference between loving someone and worshipping an illusion of them. Love sees. Love acknowledges the whole person, their strengths, their weaknesses, their choices, their limitations. Illusion only sees what it wants to see. The mature person does not need everyone to be perfect. They simply stop pretending imperfection does not exist. One day, you will look back at the people who disappointed you and something surprising will happen. The anger will fade. The confusion will fade. What will remain is understanding. Because every person who revealed their true nature gave you something valuable: discernment, wisdom, a deeper relationship with yourself. They showed you where your boundaries needed to grow, where your intuition needed to be trusted, and where your love needed to include yourself. Maybe the greatest gift of disappointment is not learning that people can let you down. You already knew that. The greatest gift is learning that you will not abandon yourself when they do. You will stop chasing explanations. You will stop begging for understanding. You will stop holding on to ghosts of who people used to be or you hoped they would become. And you will become free. Because the moment you accept reality, reality stops being your enemy. Let people disappoint you. Not because you expect the worst from everyone, but because you trust yourself enough to survive the truth. Sometimes the person who disappoints you is also the person who finally introduces you to yourself. If you've resonated with this video this far, I would like for you to like it, share it with someone who needs to hear it as well, and drop a comment. This will help the Human Mirror reach a lot more people who will find resonation with it. This has been the Human Mirror. Look closely, you are never invisible. I'll see you in the next reflection.